I a lot of times I sit and I ponder, and I'm an information junkie. So a lot of times it's like even the most minuscule and useless information, I like it. I guess because I like to learn. Even if it means I can't apply it. I also think that, excuse me, I think a lot of the times, I'm very big on repetition. Repetition to me is what is going to get you where you need to be. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make in general is that they repeat the same things over and over again, and it's a poor example of repetition. Meaning, like, okay, they're trying to acquire something, trying to attain something, trying to accomplish something, trying to do a multitude of different things, and they repeat the same behavior over and over and over, or the same action over and over and over, or they read the same thing over and over and over, or they, again, I'm just trying to give you a broad spectrum of the world through my eyes, and want to know why they cannot achieve what that goal is. You heard me speak many times about the insanity, doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results. And I truly feel that in society, it's a psychosis. I mean, it really is. It's a psychosis to continually do that type of stuff and to continually mimic the same behaviors and expect different results. It just doesn't work that way. It's not the way that true success and true goal-oriented behavior works. It may sound kind of crazy because you're saying one point you need to be repetitious, and on the other side of the coin, you're saying, well, you can't do the same things every time. True, but that repetition has to be mirrored or picked specifically to accomplish the goal. So if you're trying to accomplish a goal and you're doing the same thing over and over again and it doesn't happen, you just might want to change things up a little bit. And that, I feel, is the biggest factor in failure, is that people are not willing to do that. They have problems with their ego. They have problems with being stubborn. I mean, there's a million things you could say. There's a million things that you could come up with as to say, why are people doing those continual things and not getting what they need or what they want? It's very simple. I think that, like, you take coaching, for instance, right? What makes a great coach? I don't care what the sport is, what the activity is. A great coach is someone that is willing to learn, period. A great coach is someone that is willing to take constructive criticism, period. A great coach is someone that is willing to look at themselves in the mirror and say, I just might want to change this up, or take my assistant coach's advice, or take a mentor's advice, or take a player's advice on something that maybe I'm just not seeing the full picture on. And then taking that information and applying it to the next week's game plan, to the next match, to whatever it is that you're doing. And I got to tell you, in my experience, the success rate increases 20-fold when you do that. When you have this dictator type of mentality, like it's going to be my way or the highway, it'd probably be pretty hypocritical for me to say that, because that's kind of how I live my life. But I'm an open dictatorship. I'm going to take a whip the dog session if I need it. I'm going to take criticism if I need it. I'm going to take information if I need it. And I think the main thing here is the word if. There's no if. We all need information. We all need to learn. We all need to see outside of our own box to sometimes understand what's necessary. Because at the end of the day, what happens? You get the blinders on, okay? You get stuck in your ways, and then you become impervious to information. And that information can help you grow, okay? And that's as a coach, teacher, a mentor, whatever the case may be. that soup or that mixture that you're looking for those successes, it evolves continually because it's all relative to the cause. It's relative to who you're dealing with, what you're dealing with, the environment, the situation. There's a million things out there that dictate what is going to give you the best results. And, it's just, the world is crazy because there's a lot of guys and gals out there that you can't tell them anything. And we are all guilty of that type of stubborn behavior, myself included. But what I found is that the more that I open up my brain and the more that I open up my ears and my eyes and everything else and I listen, because 9 times out of 10, there's people on the outside that kind of know a little more than you do, or they're looking at it from a different perspective that you just don't see because you're blinded by your own imperfections, your own inabilities to absorb information, to get it, to do what's necessary. And also evolving in the sense of saying, you know what, I'm a person that's very compartmentalized in certain things. Like I try to use my skill sets for different situations and different surroundings and so on and so forth. So there's different factions and parts of my personality which I know are not good, but they're good for some things. And what I've learned is that I've been able to use those things, those not so good things, and use them when I need to. Like I keep them in a closet and I pull them out when I need to use those things. And then I'm able to put them back in the closet and leave them there for another day. There were times in my life where I would use that, and like for instance for myself, it's like I'm the guy that runs through the wall. I don't need to go around it. I'm running through the wall. I don't care what your wall's made of. I don't care if you got armed guards in front of your wall. I'm getting through the wall and I'm getting to what I need. Okay? And I don't care about what the fallout is. I don't care what the wake is like after I go through that wall. It doesn't make a difference to me. Okay? As I got older and as I got more mature and wiser and more experienced, I realized, you know what? I can walk around the wall and attain the same results, if not more. That is how learning takes place. That's how understanding takes place. That's how being able to apply information, whether it's through other individuals, reading, auditory, experience, like I just described now, and understanding that that's how you apply it. That's what you do. We're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And that's why it's so necessary to do those type of things. Because if you are searching for perfection, you're never going to get there. It's impossible, but you can get pretty darn close if you use those learning experiences. You use any of them, however you acquire them, to apply it to whatever life throws in front of you at that point. Okay? It's like the old saying, you can't draw blood from a stone. This applies. This applies in the same way as that. You're not going to go pick up a stone and try and draw blood from it. It's impossible. It's not going to work. It's not. But do you have the ability in your mind and your intellect to understand that? Or are you so stubborn? Or is your ego so big that you're not willing to do that? And again, you've heard me say it on the podcast a million times. You're looking at and talking to a full-blown egomaniac. Period. End of story. But I've learned to adjust it. I've learned to understand when I need it, when I don't need it, how to turn it on, how to turn it off. That's when it's a positive. I'm a big proponent for the ego. I am not one of these people out there that damn the ego and say it's this evil thing, and that's bullshit. It's horseshit. It's weak. And it's because you don't have the balls to do what it takes. And it may sound like I'm being aggressive about it because I am. Because what happens? It means you're being short-sighted and you're blaming the ego on why you're not successful or why somebody else isn't. Oh, well, that guy's no good because he's an egomaniac. Listen. You need ego. You need your ego to go forward in this life. Okay? The skill set is not becoming an asshole with your ego. That's when it's wrong. That's when it's wrong. But guess what? Sometimes you got to be an asshole. I've learned that. Because sometimes being nice just doesn't get the job done. And the world's a mean and cruel place. And guess what? You know, to quote Rocky Balboa, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. So sometimes that part of the personality has to come out. And for people out there that don't think it does, you are just lost. Just lost. Okay? Be nice. Be humble. Be compassionate. Help people whenever you can. I try to help everybody, even to the detriment of myself at times. Okay? But that's me. I sleep at night knowing I did the best I could for somebody if they were in need. Okay? But again, it goes back to what I've been talking about here today. It's your habits. Okay? It's finding information. It's looking in the mirror and trying to break down your day and saying, hey, I could have done this better. I could have done that better. Next time I'm going to do it this way. I'm not going to do it that way. And more importantly, guess what? Have a small slice of humble pie and ask people around you. Put your ego to the side and say, you know what? That guy or that gal probably knows a little bit more about this stuff or is, to be point blank, smarter than I am on those subject matters. And I'm trying to get involved in those type of situations, but I'm just not educated enough to get there. That's why you ask questions. That's why you absorb the information. Why? It's called growth. It's called self-growth. It's called understanding what it takes to get there. And that's the largest part of that, any journey, is that learning curve and that willingness to absorb information. That willingness to absorb things from the outside that will probably positively change the outcomes for you. And that's what it's about. It's about the outcomes, right? You want to have the best job. You want to win a sporting event. You want to stay healthy. You want to have good relationships. You want to have good friendships. You want to do all those things, whatever it may be, whatever that is for you. Be willing to absorb information. Be willing to absorb information. Be willing to accept criticism. Be willing to understand, yeah, I probably was wrong in that circumstance. But you don't want to be wrong the next time. And guess what? The next time a curveball is thrown at you in your life, you are more prepared to hit that curveball because you're a better person.